Hey, what's up guys, WiseGuyVito here, and today I have an tier list video for you guys, and this one will be on secondary weapons against the Terminid faction, which ones are really good and which ones are definitely not so much. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Let's get straight into the tier list. So before we start, let's go over the tiers real quick. S tier, we're gonna be like the meta picks at level 10 difficulties. This is just bread and butter, very good at handling Terminids at level 10 difficulty. A tier is above average. You know, like there might be one glaring issue with it, but for the most part, this is still a very good, solid gun. It's not as good as like the S tier picks that I think are definitely better. Just overall, just better guns. B tier is just mid performance. Not necessarily like a bad gun per se. It's just meh. It's neither bad nor good, just kind of just average. C tier is below average. Would like to see some buffs, to be perfectly honest with you, to these guns or melee weapons, because to be perfectly honest with you, if they did get like maybe like 1 or 2 buffs, it would make these guns feel a whole lot better, like a whole lot better. And it would probably be a little more competitive as far as like what you would pick to have fun with on levels and difficulties. And then of course D tier, this is the dookie tier, this is the bad tier, this is the we need to see some really big reworks to these guns, and I do think that there are some that do kind of fall within this category of D tier. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tier list. So this is the Bushwhacker. Basically, it's kind of like a Punisher in your back pocket. Very good overall. It does have range problems with it, but for the most part, this is actually a very, very solid gun. Just overall, it has 2 select firing modes. You can either do 1 at a time. You can fire it 3 times and then reload. The reload speed's not too bad on it. Or you can fire all 3 barrels at once, in which case you are dumping. It's kind of like the first iteration of like the variable, to be perfectly honest with you, just in handheld form, and it's a shotgun. For that reason though, I'm gonna have to put it like in high A. I just don't think it does pretty good against shriekers. That's the only problem. But anything that kind of like walks up on you that has like a little bit of health to it, namely like alpha commanders and such, this thing does very, very good. And the reload speed is actually pretty nice on it as well. Just overall, just a very nice back pocket shotgun. I'm almost tempted to put it in S tier, but I do think it's probably like high A. Maybe you can even argue that it's in low S, but for the most part, to be kind of conservative here, I'm going to put it into the A tier, the high A tier category. Crisper, Omega S, when it works. And what I mean by when it works, there's currently a bug right now in Helldivers 2 where fire and gas, for whatever reason, will not apply to enemies, and that is a big problem. I don't know why they still haven't fixed it yet. It's been quite some time with this bug being in the game. Probably been about a month or so, month and a half probably at this point. Maybe even longer than that. And I've noticed at times whenever I'm using fire or gas that it just doesn't apply. But whenever it does apply, it feels very, very good. It feels very, very nice. Especially on the Crisper. Crisper is just very good. It's just a very, very, very solid sidearm. I do think that's probably the best close range sidearm in the game, because fire damage is just that good. Once you set something on fire, they burn very quickly. You can also lay fire on the ground for a little bit of crowd control. This thing can handle chargers. Like, it's just a very good sidearm to use in Helldivers 2, and for that reason, I'm going to put it into the S tier category. The Dagger, I'm gonna put it like in high A, kind of maybe even low A, but excuse me, high B. The reason why is because, like, the problem with laser weapons is that they don't stagger, and it gets bugs whenever they're like swarming you, especially if you're facing off against like the Predator strand, for example. This gun does not feel great. Like, it's good for just general, just chaff clear for the most part, because you have unlimited ammo to it. It's a nice little just cleaning up what you started, like the mess that you create by killing all these little, like all these bugs, and then there's like maybe like a few hunters left and some like, wilburs or like some like little like fat scavenger bugs and stuff like that. Other than that though, that's basically where it basically falls off at. Yes, it can set things on fire, which is nice, but at the same time, I just rather use the crisper for that. If I'm going to take on bigger things that I need to set on fire. And by the time that you've already set certain things on fire, as far as like hunters and like scavengers and stuff like that, they're already dead because you're already shooting at them. And they'll be dead before we actually set them on fire. For that reason, though, it's not a bad pick per se. It just kind of feels mid against the bugs in general. So that's why I'm putting it into the B tier category. The grenade pistol, I do think this is the best utility weapon in the game right now, just because it can close bug holes up. And that feels really nice. So it also has some crowd control capabilities because, again, you're shooting basically like an impact nade at bugs, and sometimes you can get like 4 or 5 kills with one shot. Just overall, just a great utility gun overall. And then it kind of frees up your grenade slot, so you can bring this to close bug holes up, and then you can bring like thermites or gas grenades or something else to actually like handle like the more bigger or even just bigger mobs of enemies. And you can just use this to kind of like save those grenades for those times, so you're not using them on bug holes. The Halo ODST pistol, not gonna lie, this thing is dog shit. This thing is really bad. And I understand that people are gonna say, well, it's on par with the Peacekeeper. Don't care. The suppressor doesn't work. If the gun doesn't work, I'm gonna put it in D tier until they fix the gun and Airhead gets their head out their ass as far as their quality assurance goes. Guns that just don't work are going to be on my tier list anyway, on the bottom, on definitely like the bottom end. With that being said, though, ergonomics feels pretty good on it. It does feel pretty good to shoot. The sway is actually not too bad on it, but it needs a medium armor pen to it. Full stop. Needs a medium armor pen to it. I don't care. And it probably needs to be on the same damage level as the Verdict, and of course the suppressor needs to work. This thing needs to be a kind of side grade to the Verdict. Just give different options. If it did have all those things that I say, it would be an Omega S tier gun at that point, right? Or at the very least an A tier gun. But that's just me. I just want more with the war bonds that I'm getting, and right now I feel like Arrowhead has still not delivered on a lot of their Warbond releases, a good majority of them. I understand we got Dust Devils, and Dust Devils was pretty good, but we can't say, okay, cool, we finally got the one, now we have to just ignore all the 5-6 other ones that were just dog shit terrible. No, we hold them accountable, and they need to fix the other Warbonds, okay? And this is one of them, especially a collab gun with Halo ODST. Again, it's a Halo franchise. A lot of people really like the Halo franchise. If you're coming out with collab guns that are absolutely dog shit, you're effectively spitting on the IP, and you're spitting in the face of people who actually care about the IP. And for that reason, I'm gonna have to put it in the D tier. I'm sorry, it is what it is. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comment section below about it. But I'm really disappointed that in the Halo Warbond, most of the guns were, for the most part, just dog shit. And they're dog shit. And I think the rose-colored glasses are kind of coming off a little bit. The honeymoon phase is ending. I think people are actually now seeing that these guns are really, really bad. And this is one of them. This gun actually looks cool too, except it's just dog shit. The suppressor doesn't work, and it could have been a whole lot better than what it is currently. So I'm putting it into the D tier. The Hatchet. Hatchet is probably also going to be D tier for me as well. They nerfed the absolute hell out of melees, especially on the bug front, because they used to go through charger legs. They no longer go through charger legs anymore. And like now, like, I don't understand why people would want to bring melee weapons unless you're just trying to roleplay, in which case have at it. That's cool. If this was an RP thing or whatever, or a tier list or whatever, and you guys want to see that type of stuff, I mean, like I said, like, it looks cool, sure, but I just don't think like melee weapons are like in a really bad spot right now. Even the best melee weapons in the game are still in a very bad spot. Spoiler alert, like, there's definitely going to be some that I do think are better, but they're still pretty bad. And the Hatchet is one of those. I don't know what to do to melee weapons to make them good. I just think they just need a clear buff across the board, especially if you're going to be up close and personal with these melee focus or like melee only enemies for the most part. They just need to be doing way more damage, way more durable damage. Than they can be cleaving off and staggering enemies whenever you're up close and using them. For that reason, I'm gonna have to put the Hatchet into the D tier. So we'll see what happens into the future whenever they inevitably buff, or maybe they won't ever, because it's Airhead. Airhead has their priorities in weird places for whatever reason as of late, as of the last patch, for example. But you know, Hatchet is definitely going to be a D tier pick for me. The Talon is really good. Talon is S tier. It's basically has the same damage as a Senator, except it has medium armor pen and it has a limited ammo to it. That's it. That's all you know about the gun. It's going to be good regardless. It's going to be, you know, it does 200 damage. It can, I think, 4-tap Alpha Commanders in the head. It can handle Hive Guardians very well. It can handle Bile Spewers very well. Anything with medium armor pen to it, it handles pretty decently well. Just overall, just a phenomenal weapon. And as long as you watch your shots, because I believe it's 9 shots until it overheats if you're spamming it. If you just watch your shots, you have unlimited ammo. You don't have to worry about ammo. This thing has fantastic ammo economy, but it just all depends on how well you shoot. This thing has no recoil to it. This thing has barely any sway to it as well. It's just an overall, just a phenomenal little sidearm. It might be one of the best sidearms in the game, if not the best sidearm in the game, because it just has so many things going for it. But, you know, there might be people who argue that maybe the Senator's like a little better. There's also guns like the Ultimatum as well that are in the game that handle heavy armor targets way better. But as far as like just general chaff, even going into like elite style enemies or like those bigger targets, this gun is phenomenal. So that's why I'm putting it into the S tier. The Machete feels also really bad right now. So all melee weapons in the game are medium armor pen. However, if you go in game and actually like read the description of, like, for example, like the Hatchet or the Saber or Stun Lance or the baton or the stun baton, they say light armor pen, but they're actually medium pen. At some point, because Airhead is weird and for whatever reason, they will change things that should not be changed, and they should just be kept, even though they're still really bad. They will probably change melee weapons, and I forgot to mention this in the Hatchet one, but they will inevitably change these weapons, or like these melee weapons, probably into light armor pen, and give nothing else to them, because that's how Airhead works. For that, but you know, with that explanation out of the way, I do think that the Machete is still bad, even though it has medium armor pen to it. That's it. It's a slow moving or slow attacking melee weapon that I thought was probably going to be stronger. It has some stagger to it, sure, but the stun baton and the stun lance can actually stun, and stun is definitely better than stagger when it comes down to melee weapons. Not saying that this thing needs to stun. It's nice that it has the stagger to it, but with it being so slow, there are some times where I will whack an enemy, it'll stagger them. By the time I do another swing, they will already be out of the stagger and they will automatically hit me. Seen that a couple times. For that reason, I'm gonna have to put it in D tier, because again, I don't know what they could do to melee weapons to make them better. But right now, melee weapons just feel really bad to use right now. Even if you were to build into them, they still feel very bad to use right now in Helldivers 2. Peacekeeper, super mid. And that's fine. That's fine. It is the starter pistol in the game. I don't think it really needs anything else. You could give it more weapon attachments. You could give it weapon attachments. That's the first thing. By the way, none of these guns have weapon attachments. Hopefully they change that soon. Within like the next 4 or 5 years, of course, because that's how the development cycle works. But you know, I would like to see some weapon attachments to secondaries, and I do think the Peacekeeper would probably benefit from that, but we'll just have to see in the future. But for the most part, Peacekeeper, it's very mid. It's very plain Jane. Warrant, still kind of mid. You know, I just wish this thing had explosive damage to it, to be honest with you, or like explosive rounds. I think that would actually make it pretty cool, because then you could say that they could probably have like a little bit of stagger to them, because the projectile speed on these on the projectile speed of the Warrant is very slow, to be honest. And I kind of wish that they were just a little bit better, just overall. The lock-on system is okay. It just feels mid, even though it's medium armor pen. The medium armor pen is like the best thing about the gun. It just feels very, very mid against the bugs right now. I just would rather use like the Senator or the Verdict or the Talon against medium armor enemies. I would never use this in a million years. I just wouldn't. I mean, if I were to buff this gun in some ways, just give it like explosive stagger, projectiles, and I think it probably would be in a good spot at that point. Maybe like a little bit more damage as well. But other than that, like it's just not that great of a gun, especially for just super credits, because you're gonna buy this with super credits in the super credit store, so it's gonna be like a little bit higher price compared to the war bond. The Loyalist, basically like this is just a purifier in your back pocket. This is actually pretty good for the most part. It has not so good ammo economy to it. That's why I'm putting it into the A tier. If it had better ammo economy, it probably would be S. But it's just good as a crowd control and handling out bigger targets. But again, like the ammo economy kind of holds it back a little bit, so I'm putting it into the A tier. Redeemer, it like this thing is still pretty good, I think. It's a great get off me tool. Like if you have 4 or 5 hunters on you and you just spray them down really quickly, that's pretty dang good. The only thing that I would probably say is that, again, if weapon attachments were a thing, I think the Redeemer would greatly benefit from that, because if you could get like a drum mag on the Redeemer, that would be sick. That would actually be really, really cool, if you could do that. So we'll have to see in the future, whenever they put in weapon attachments for secondaries in like 3 or 4 years time, whenever the game is probably dead and gone at that point. But overall though, I really do think that it could definitely use like a drum mag, and you could definitely put that in some sort of like weapon attachments and give the weapon some sort of like progression to it. Saber, same as before, just not good. RP wise, it looks fantastic. It's probably like one of the better looking melee weapons in the game, but that's not saying much whenever it just sucks. So Senator is Omega S tier, heavy armor pin to it, has a speed reload to it after you fire all 6 rounds, which is also very good. It's just really good. I mean, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, the Senator has always been good, and it's always going to be really good. It is the hand cannon of Helldivers 2, and there's still some people who probably say it's probably the best weapon in the game right now. I'm kind of going back and forth between this and probably the Talon. Like as far as like an actual pistol gun that you can shoot, like these are probably like one of the two. Like either one of these could be debated on the best in the game. So Senator is really good. You should definitely try it out. The Stim pistol. Okay, Stim pistol, I'm probably going to put it in B tier. It's just good as a support build. I won't put it anything higher than this because you have to build into it. You need, if I were you, like, just go full medic. Just build into it. Go put on the medic armor and go put on experimental stims, and then you'll be good. That's it. That's all you do. And you just run around and just heal your teammates the entire time. Get a supply pack as well. Give your team stims whenever they need it, and ammo. And probably maybe have some sentries and stuff like that. Again, some more stuff to kind of like support your teammates. And yeah, I think that's it really. It's just like, it's just mid, and it'll probably be mid unless you build into it. So that's what I'm gonna put it into the B tier. Stun baton and stun lance, I'll put these in kind of like just talk about these two because they're basically like the same thing, except I think that maybe like the stun lance is better because it's better like attack animation. These things stagger and they stun, and that's what makes them good as melee weapons, but they're still bad. That's what makes them good as melee weapons, but melee weapons are still really bad. These things got nerfed pretty heavily, especially the stun lance got probably the biggest nerf, which is it doesn't go through charger legs. I don't care about your dumb realism argument. I just want to have fun, and going through charger legs and stunning them, that was not a big deal. I'm sorry, it was not. It was not that big of a deal to do, and I don't understand why we have to kind of logic contort into. No, it's a video game, okay? We're literally stemming through Bile Titan's vomit. I will stem and get run over by a charger and get back up and be perfectly fine. I'm literally stemming and regenerating bones. Basically growing, or basically healing broken arms with a stem. Guys, this is a realistic game, okay? Calm down. It was okay where it was before. And even then, whenever it could go through charger arms, it still wasn't that great, okay? Let's be honest here, it still wasn't that great. For that reason, I'm still gonna have to put them in C tier though, because even though they do stagger and stun, does not matter. These are still pretty bad, and I don't know how they could buff them. Maybe to damage, but right now they're still just very bad. Ultimatum, Super Omega S tier. It can destroy Terminid structures. Very good against killing Bile Titans. Very good at killing Chargers. Very good at killing Impalers. It's just really good at anti-tank. And that's good because it kind of frees up your support slot to bring anything else, like a Stalwart, Machine Gun, just other stuff that doesn't do really good anti-tank, especially the Stalwart. Stalwart's actually pretty good against bugs, especially if you combo it in with the Ultimatum. It's actually very, very good. Verdict is S tier as well. Probably the best pistol handgun in the game, the Deagle, right? It does 125 damage, meaning arm pin, or yeah, I believe it does 125 now. Basically, it did previous diligence damage before. This is also a very good gun. Has really good reload speed to it. It's just like the better Peacekeeper, and that's fine. That's all that it needs to be. I just wish that there was something else to kind of be a side grade to it. Halo ODST pistol. But other than that, though, this is still a really good pistol, just overall. I think a lot of people kind of just go towards the Talon and the Senator, and that's it. But the nice thing about the Verdict is that it has a very nice reload speed to it. It has really good ergonomics as well. It's very snappy. Just overall, just a fantastic pistol. And I think a lot of people are just kind of downplaying it because the Senator and the Talon exist, but this is also very good as well. So, anyways, this is my tier list. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Greatly want to hear your opinions as to, what you think about these guns. Where would you put these guns at on a tier list sheet? As always, like, share, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.